wonderful resources on your YouTube channel. And your YouTube channel is a very dedicated approach to telling the community how to navigate the ever-evolving tech landscape on cloud and container technologies, on platform engineering, aligning business agility with tech stack, and conference reviews like Cloud Expo Europe, KubeCon, and bunch of other reviews, and
Yeah.
expert interviews who bringing decade of experience in their thought processes while talking to you. So let us know, what are the three or five best episode you recommend folk to listen to as well?
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, as you said, I tried to kind of cover different areas. I have to say most of it is kind of self-indulgent. So it's very much kind of what I, find interesting. And then I either, post on that, or I ask somebody to come on as a guest to actually talk about the topic. I'm definitely not an expert on all of the topics, which is actually makes it even better, because then I learn something new, from my guest as well. So the first one I would recommend in a kind of a top 3 videos is AI Pragma. This was a panel discussion that I did earlier this year with 2 very opinionated and actively professional guys. So Peter Gostev and Matteo Castiello. And we really talked about, and they're very much from that sort of AI, ML, LLM field. That's kind of their background. That's the space that they work in. So I really kind of wanted some experts to come in and kind of, have a conversation with them. So it's a introductory talk on kind of, the recent resurgence of AI around generative AI in the public. And obviously the, how the industry's picked up on it and so on. So we go on about things like some of the AI terms and definitions. So we talk about like large language models, generative AI, various other things. We talk about the AI use cases. So what are the kind of some of the typical AI use cases? I think that's kind of by now everybody should know what they are. There's a host of information out on those. We talk a little bit about the risks and impact of AI as well. Obviously, this was kind of back in sort of earlier this year. So we kind of focus on what we felt were the risks and some of the impact of AI, at that point in time. Practical adoption. So how can enterprises actually adopt and implement AI? What does that look like? I've actually done I'll try and give you the link to it. I've actually done an article as well for T-Systems, which talks a little bit more about that, and kind of, I'll give you sort of my prediction of how I think AI will be implemented by organizations. And then, kind of a quick, how to adopt AI strategy as well. So I have kind of, as an organization, what you should be doing, what are kind of some of the early steps around sort of adopting AI. So that's the first talk. The second talk is called The Journey to Cloud. And I did this with a lady called Tracy Bannon, who's from the MITRE group. She's really fantastic. She has a podcast. So again, we'll maybe try and provide some information around that. And she does kind of similar talks, kind of very thought-provoking, conversations. And this was really all about the steps that enterprises need to take to actually migrate into the cloud. So what are some of the steps? What do you have to do? What kind of technologies you will encounter in those steps? So I kind of paint it as 4 stages of migration. So this is kind of based very loosely on the 6 sort of R's of migration. So apart from sort of retain and retire, we talk about the other 4 R's as the 4 stages. And we really based it on a chart that I've kind of developed for a long time, which depicts these stages. In fact, I just presented it to a customer the other day, and we discussed the stages at length with them in terms of their strategy of how they can use those stages. So it's very much kind of a business and a technology focus on those 4 stages. So we go through that chart. We discuss each of the stages separately. We mention some of the technologies at each stage, so kind of what customers are likely to expect in those stages. And then we discuss things like readiness that's required. What do you need to actually be ready to do that as an organization, and how should you kind of design your IT teams really to be ready for sort of cloud environments. And then we talk finally about sort of the maturity, having a sort of a maturity model for your cloud, for your business processes and frameworks that you will adopt as you go into cloud, and then the actual operating models, the cloud operating models, and how you should have that, as part of your strategy going forward. So that's the second talk. The third talk is about platform engineering. So it's called Platform Engineering versus the World. I felt at that point that platform engineering was very much kind of in a fight with the sort of more classical DevOps, and certainly felt like that to me. So I kind of wanted to go with a slightly more interesting or controversial title for the topic. So I actually asked three individuals to actually join me for this particular talk. And again, they were kind of from different walks of life. One was kind of more on the development side, another one was on the vendor side, and the third person was kind of really more from a customer side. They were kind of a normal enterprise. So all of them were very much staunch supporters of platform engineering and the movement of platform engineering. I was, I think, the only person who was the antagonist on that discussion, and I was kind of the one pushing back a little bit and asking, sort of controversial questions and trying to maybe, not make it so one-sided in terms of the conversation, try and maybe kind of, put in some interesting and thought-provoking questions to the panel as well. So that went everything from definition and terms, used in the platform engineering space, to the principles of platform engineering. So why is kind of platform engineering? Why did we set out to do this? This is really interesting. What is platform engineering trying to solve? What are the problems that it's trying to solve? I really wanted to get that out of the panel, and we managed to do that. Kind of, is IDP, the internal developer platform or portal, as some people like to call it, is that kind of being a little bit dictatorial to developers? Would developers accept that? So again, that was one of the pushback questions that I kind of wanted to pose to the panel. And then the reskilling of teams, so kind of to maybe kind of shift their sort of direction, and not leaving anybody behind really when it comes to kind of this new movement. So yeah, a lot of questions came out of that. A lot of interesting answers came out of that. Things like people said it was DevOps, platform engineering is DevOps done right, and various other kind of interesting points came out of that conversation. And then it was kind of about how enterprises can adopt platform engineering. So that was again very important for me to kind of nail that point down. And suggestions for getting started. Where do you start with platform engineering? You've been doing DevOps all this time, and you kind of have your teams designed in that way, and now platform engineering comes in. What does that mean? What is the impact to that framework and the teams that you've basically created? So those are the top three that I think I've really enjoyed doing over the last few months. I mean, there's other ones on there. I think there's one called Is DevOps Dead? So again, it's kind of looking at platform engineering from a DevOps perspective, and some more regular slots that I do, like the one that you've been on, same as well, Class State of Play. Obviously, that comes out every month as well. So yeah, lots of topics to look at there as well.
Yes, absolutely. And my list of the favorite talk is a little bit bigger. So I will include the description on the YouTube channel. So you definitely watch that out as well. Because I think what this is, the Richard channel is one of those channels where you have a very technical deep dive. Because we know we have actually came very far away in the technological spectrum. How do we actually merge people with technology together to solve the bigger business problem that the organizations actually need, and how to bring customer satisfaction around on the same spectrum. So his YouTube channel is full of these thoughtful conversations. So I believe you have actually seen the link on your YouTube right now. So please hit that subscribe button. So it's been a very great channel to actually subscribe to.